The following video is a story classified as real. Many people from Veracruz claim that these events really happened and that they are actually still happening. However, we know that our audience is sometimes very curious, and due to the lack of evidence, I have decided to give the following warning. This video is not intended to deceive anyone. The story is supposedly true, but you can think whatever you want. This video is only brought to you in a neutral way, since everyone can interpret it however they want. A story, a legend, a tale, a novel, or as a reality. I am El DoQmentalista, and this is The Shaman Turned into a Beast. Let's begin. The DoQmentalistas. Year 2016. Catemaco, Veracruz. Nixtamala, Lagoon. It is well known that Catemaco is the cradle of sorcerers, witches, and shamans. So with that idea in mind, that's how I want you to listen to the following story. It's a story of horror, fear, anguish, and sadness, but more than that, it's an incredible story. It all began when a group of construction workers were cleaning the area around Lake Nixtamalapan. It was a normal, sunny, tropical day, typical of Veracruz. The construction workers worked all day as usual. But they say that during the day some strange things happened, things they never paid attention to at the time, but that later became important. The construction workers say that around noon they heard someone shouting from the other side of the lagoon. They couldn't understand what was being said, but what was certain was that they were the screams of a person. However, at the time, the construction workers thought those screams were just a joke. And every time that person screamed from the other side of the lagoon, they would respond mockingly, as if it were another construction worker on the other side playing a prank on them. So the day went by and the screams could still be heard about every half hour or 40 minutes. No one knew who it was or could go find out since they couldn't leave their workplace. Those screams never went away. They were there all day and even at sunset too, even when it was time to leave work to head to their homes. However, by then, it had already seemed strange to the men that someone had been screaming all day. Just nonsense. And now, instead of finding it funny, it made them somewhat curious. A few of them decided to go and inspect the place where the screams were coming from. They headed to the other side of the lagoon, going around it, walking through the thick jungle that grows around the large pond of water. They even shouted anything, hoping for a response from whoever was making those screams. But it was not easy to move through the terrain. There were no paths or trails to walk on, only vines and tangled bushes. So they had to make their way with machetes and their hands, going deeper and deeper into the thickness of that small jungle. Until suddenly they heard those screams again. Now they were closer. They knew it. They were close to finding the supposed prankster and catching him, maybe even scaring him, if it turned out to be someone they knew. So the men, pushing their way forward, reached a small clearing where they believed the screams were coming from. But what they found there wasn't a prankster, nor anyone they knew, nor anything they could have imagined before. What was there left them scared to death? Blood everywhere. The ground was torn up as if two large animals had fought there. The atmosphere was cold and night was starting to overtake the day. The putrid stench of the lake's damp logs. It made everything even more terrifying because what they found in that place was something indescribable and frightening. A nahual, a strange creature with a human animal form, was lying there half dead. It had human eyes, the body of a coyote, but its hind legs were like those of a child. And its hands were destroyed as if they had been torn off. And the head, for God's sake, the head was like that of a bird, maybe an owl like people say. But the worst part of all is that this horrifying being had a human voice.
Kill me, kill me.
He begged while coughing up blood and his eyes were tearing up.
Please kill me, kill me.
He crawled in pain over what seemed to be the entrails of that abominable thing.
Kill me, please do it now.
The men say it was 7 machete blows to the head that ended his life. Afterwards, they threw the strange body into the lake and they went to tell their families and friends what had happened. Only one photo has come to light of that supposed beast, half human, half animal. Look for it however you want. But all the sorcerers in the area say it was an owl. What they saw was an owl experiencing things and ways that are forbidden. We shouldn't play with dark powers, said one of them. Another, however, claims that it was the fusion of 2 shamans, without experience, trying to do things that were beyond their reach. For the people of Veracruz, and even more so for the people of Catemaco, this kind of thing is normal. We live in the land of sorcerers, a cursed land stained with blood. And although there are also good people and white magic, there are also evil powers and many people who are on the side of evil. It's typical for people to hear or say that a nahual appeared in a certain house, or that an owl is flying over a certain place. Many forms. There are many ways to practice these kinds of things, but how far is a human being capable of going? What can we practice and what can't we? Are we allowed to practice magic? Do we have enough power to perform this kind of transformation? Personally, I've never seen a hideous nahual, but I've also never seen a beautiful fairy godmother. So I keep an open mind to any possibility, and I hope that someday we manage to bridge that gap between the mundane and the spiritual. And that all of this leads us to understand everything more clearly. I am el DoQmentalista. And this was the shaman turned into a beast. Thank you and see you next time.